This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
To order this meeting of the 9/11 Tribute Committee. We have 4 members in person and we have 3 absent. I do not believe we have anyone here for public speak, so we will move right on to our first item, which was discussion of design ideas. And I believe Tom had sent out an email. I believe that was an email.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Regarding the online monument quote, I agreed to research, determined that it's more practical to work with a local company for custom specifications we require. Still awaiting final quotes. However, I have attached a photo, the stone for reference, the engraving on the stone, simply to give us an idea of the characters that we'll have to work with based on the quote we get. Then I've all seen that one there.
Yeah.
You got to print it out. Oh, fantastic. And then I know we had wanted to kind of send the draft ideas of what we wanted to actually have on the engraving. I've received none, and I also didn't do one. So I think we're all
Yeah, we're all guilty.
a little guilty of that one.
I feel like that should perhaps come from whoever designs it too. To some, like, we can say these are the like parameters we want to include X, Y, and Z, but I mean I keep going back to the charge of the committee, but was to come up with the RFP so that someone could design it and have like that contribution, So if we're like, do this, say this, use these materials, it kind of takes away from that.
Yeah. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, my thought was that if this is going to be private funding, then there's no RFP process required.
Well, then, is there a committee required?
I mean, I think the goal of the committee at this point, or even from the start, was just to come up with a 9/11 memorial. I think the approach of trying to do the RFP, doing the outreach, I think was one approach. If we were getting funding from City Council, I would say it should be the approach, because if you're getting the taxpayer money to go, that it should be going to, I think, an artist in the community. Where we're doing the fundraising ourselves, I think the goal really just does become creating the monument, and I think it is the charge of this committee to determine what that monument should be. I'm not opposed at all to the RFP idea. I think fundraising is going to be where a lot of the committee's energy is going to be. Where if we were getting some type of stipend to do this, then I think the energy could have really put into an RFP. But what are people up for? Because I think after the override doesn't pass, I will no longer be on this committee. So it's going to be down another member. So the question really is, if somebody, I think Tom will probably be taking lead on fundraising. That's what I've gotten from my conversations with him. If you want to take lead on trying to get an RFP together and doing the outreach to artists, that's still very much on the table. It's just where do people want to be working on this? I just think, my opinion, realistically, I know where we all had this idea of, well, we'll all write something quickly and then we all have what we do in our day-to-day lives. It's realistically, but are you up for putting that in there? Because I think that's a lot. And it's why I'm hesitant to volunteer for something like that. I would not want to volunteer anyone for that. But if you're up for it, like it is, we are well in the stages where we could definitely still do that.
not sure how to capture all of that he just said. I was just listening. I'm like, wait, I'm not ready.
We've got to focus on fundraising, and the question is, does anyone here want to do the work for outreach to artists?
There is some middle ground, I guess. I mean, certainly we could try to figure out a way to interest artists in submitting some sort of ideas. I don't know whether the writing skills and the artistic skills are going to exist in a singular person. So I don't know that. I mean, we could try and see what they come back with.
I would say, well, two things. One, the charge, which I happen to have in my little folder here, does not specify artists. It says a contractor that specializes in memorials, monuments, and or similar specialized experience. So there's that, which doesn't, I think, exclude artists, but it doesn't specify artists. I think getting the idea right, and we can. I think it does matter that we come up with some kind of language. It doesn't have to be the final language, but just to express like what it is we want this thing to say. I'm a word person, and of course I didn't draft anything either, but I do think that it's not, I mean, I know we've talked about what we want this thing to say, but I think that it would help us to identify the right person, company, organization, artist, or someone who really wants to do it. If we say like, this is the story we want to tell, like this is why this monument or memorial, this is why Easthampton, this is why this is what it does. So, but I think that having, especially if we end up with an artist doing, we do want them to bring their vision.
Yeah, and I guess it's not as much like it has to be an artist. I think it just needs to be somebody who wants to make this, whether that's a crafts person or, a stonemason or an artist or, whatever. I mean, my concern, because initially one of the first places was by the fire and police building. And to me, like something like what this says, which is, on September 11th, all these people died and it was a tragedy, like makes more sense next to something like that, where people are dedicated to risking their lives every day in the cause of, serving the community, as opposed to it by the pond, which is like where people go to relax and have R&R and, fish and play with their families and that kind of thing. To me, that seems like a very heavy message to be sending, like, and to outsiders who come to Easthampton, and they're like, oh.
I agree.
But that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah.
And I know that's not like exactly what's going to be written.
But something in that more traditional vein, I think makes more sense there than, yes, by the pond. I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. What do you all think?
I was troubleshooting here a little bit where Tom apparently is trying to join online, so I was just getting him the information here.
Well, I think it's invisible over on the side of the public safety complex.
Yeah.
And that's really the only reason that I don't think that's a great spot.
I like I like the pond just because it fits into the theme of reflection.
I like the pond as a location. I just want to be sure that we're
Doing the right thing by the pond.
not making the pond into like a place that people are like, oh, that's stressful.
I mean, as far as the concepts that Tom provided. I like them both. I think they're both interesting. They're two different kinds of work. So I guess it depends on who we can find that's interested. I know that he had mentioned an individual that does metal sculpting, which in my mind fits this concept.
And what was, remind me in the email, he said that was a replica of something?
This is, well, I think this is a replica of the memorial in New York City.
I think it's the Freedom Tower, is that not?
That's what that building looks like.
Of the new building they built on that site, or?
I believe,
Yeah,
let me double check that.
I will never.
Yeah, that's the Freedom Tower.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I find it Alec. Not. That's fan
All
of that.
buildings for you.
I know, right?
And I think, I mean, if I were to say, what do I personally like? I kind of like the stone engraving more than the metal, but that's a personal thing, and I wouldn't object to either concept.
Yeah, again, just sharing opinion, I like both. This one and this one, but I don't necessarily love the Freedom Tower. But I like kind of the general idea. I definitely like that plaque. So I think, but I definitely, I like this type of design, something modest, something that's not going to be, we're still keeping the pond, but having something there that fits that seam of reflection without necessarily drawing too much attention to itself. On the call, you can get him in here. I was also thinking if we're trying to come up with language to actually put on there, Easthampton does have a poet laureate. Could reach out to Ascalina to see if they might be interested in putting something together.
Have to be short.
Be very short. So,
Haiku.
I like that idea. Sorry. Who is it?
I don't know their name. Look, let me see if I can find it. AI is to be believed is Carolyn Zykowski.
I know she was like a couple of years ago. Is it like an ongoing?
Yeah, I'm trying. Actually, I thought it was somebody new. I'm gonna ask Alina tomorrow when I see her. Tom, are you with us? Can you hear us?
I am. Thanks for sending that link. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Carolyn Stykowski. Term is 2025 to 2027.
Oh, okay.
Poet, fiction writer, essayist, and creative writing instructor.
You were talking about the for how we want to do the engraving. We, nobody sent anything in for writing. We all skipped that. I think maybe reaching out to, our poet laureate for the city, and seeing if they maybe would have some ideas to put on there. But I think generally, we like the ideas here. I like the stone. I like the metal engraving. Didn't necessarily love the tower, but I think everything else about it kind of captures it. And we're, sorry, these images came from, you probably put it in the email. Where did these ones come from?
Oh, I did that. I just kind of did that through ChatGPT.
Cool.
And so far, with the dimension that I was using for the stone, just the first quote that I got for the stone itself was 10,500.
Mhm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine a plaque would be less expensive.
Yeah.
It was just a matter of constructing something for it to sit on.
I guess
Another-
the question.
No, another thought would be to maybe see if the DPW can put like a general stone down there to mount a plaque on, like one of those large sort of non-polished stones.
Ones that are always digging out of the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely ask Greg about that, and then we can see what it would be with the plaque route. How much is a plaque? Do we get a quote on that at all?
No. The person I spoke with, Chris Kofelt, who's one of the local artists, he mentioned that he has a bronze guy and that he works with out of Seattle. So I was kind of hoping he was able to come today, but
All right. Yeah, we'll see a quote on a plaque, and we can kind of go from there. And then I guess what's the fundraising strategy? How do we want to approach this?
I mean, I think once we have what we're actually looking to put there is advertise that that's what we're putting there, and then solicit additional donations. Put out a letter, or maybe even get it in the paper.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're really supposed to come up with is a scope of work, right? Scope of work. We don't have to design the thing, but if we say we want this thing, that's what we have to do, right?
Do you want me to reach out to Carolyn and see? I can send her these. She might think of that.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
can do that.
That would be very good.
What's her last name?
It's got a lot of consonants.
Is it Carolyn or Caroline?
Carolyn, Carolyn,
Okay, that is Caroline.
ZAIKOWSKI.
Okay. Thank you. And you know her, Rebecca?
I see her on her daily walk every day, so I can time my interception of her walk. I don't really know her though.
Okay.
So I think Carolyn's correct that we were just looking for the scope of work, but if we do the scope of work without any additional effort for making the design or anything like that, it's
Yeah.
really hard to solicit any kind of funds to be able to cover it, and especially since initially we took a look at this project and said, well, it's about $10,000. There was no funding source. I think it's a matter of trying to, adjust as we go and that, I'm just wondering what you guys think about that is we can come up with a scope of work, hand it in, and it'll stall right there.
No, I agree with you, Tom, but some visuals are a good idea.
Right.
No one wants to read stuff, they want to look at stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we should have a quote for the stone, which we have, and then for the plaque as well. I'll see if it's feasible for us to get a large folder moved over there to mount the plaque and get costs for that. So we kind of have two fundraising goals that if we can hit 10,500, we can go with the stone. If not, we can go with the boulder plaque idea, assuming it's meaningfully cheaper.
Where would the boulder come from?
Yeah.
Oh, they
They
just
got rocks everywhere.
boulders.
Yeah, we'd have to give them some sense of size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, how big the plaque is, because you need to find something that's got a relatively flat area on it, large enough.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's,
So Tom, you can probably between now and the next meeting, get some sense of what that cast plaque might run us.
Yeah, I can do that. I'm wondering if we could actually get it done through I doubt it, but the National Cemetery Administration, if they would take, if we could put in for something like that. I'll see if there's a way to possibly do that. They're the ones who put out all the veterans, bronze markers, grave markers.
Oh, okay.
So I doubt they'd, stray from what their actual job is doing that, but
yeah.
it's worth a shot.
Yeah, and they may be able to make a recommendation about someone too.
Right.
Cemetery, what?
Administration.
Okay.
Yeah, they're a branch of the VA, basically.
Thank you for these concepts.
They were great.
You must be a
Oh, yeah,
master.
thanks. What's that?
You must be a master with Chat GPT.
Yeah, it's a good cheater program. It's actually very helpful for things like this. Saves a lot of time.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. Gets a lot of tedium out of the way. All right. Do we want to get into what the fundraising strategy looks like, or how do we feel about that?
I think it's until we know what we're fundraising for, that's difficult.
Yeah. I think it would be good to have the rest of our committee here to speak to that, because I think that they're so invested in a specific way.
Yeah.
But Tom, nice work on on what you've already done.
Yeah.
For fundraising. That's amazing.
Appreciate it.
A mailbox here, Tom?
Excuse me?
Mailbox here?
Did you say? Did you ask me if I have a mailbox here?
Yeah.
City Hall.
Oh yes, I do. Yep.
I brought a check, so I'll just leave it there.
Oh great. That's great. Thank you. So another option too. I mean, the only thing with the polished stone is when you go too small, it starts losing its luster. So, I mean, I could get a quote for a smaller, about half the size. I don't know if it's something that we should be looking into.
I kind of like the idea of a natural,
Yeah.
like that like a boulder, because there's nothing polished about what happened. You know, like
Yeah.
raw elements, right?
That's a good point.
I like that. That gives a whole different vibe.
Yeah, and depending upon what's available, that might drive our size too.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, we'll talk to Greg tomorrow, the feasibility of getting a stone from somewhere to there, and that would be able to get a plaque on there, and then figure out what the cost would be of affixing a plaque to a stone, and having that made, and then we'll know kind of what our fundraising targets are. And I think after the override, and we're through to the new budget year, it may be more oxygen in the room for other projects. So we'll find out then.
Sounds like a good plan.
So I make a motion to approve the minutes. Thank you.
Oh, nope. I second that motion.
All right. All in favor?
I
Aye.
Carries.
Can we pick a meeting date?
And then go with calendar's not coming up here. I'm assuming
So July
first
6th,
Monday.
which is, I think, the first Monday.
Yep, that's what I have on our agenda, July 6th. That works for everybody?
Yes.
Cool. As I said, the start of this meeting, if the override doesn't pass, I will no longer be with the committee. So you folks will have to elect a new chair then. Otherwise,
That isn't how we,
what's that?
let's hope we don't have to do that.
Let's all hope the override goes through. So,
I'm sorry, Dylan, that must be stressful.
Yeah,
It's gotta be Christmas.
very stressful.
Would you reserve a room for that date?
Yes, absolutely. You can go ahead. Do we like down here?
cozy,
Right.
end of the cave.
Better than
Those are
being
kind of windows.
beats being up behind the dais for our
Yes.
small committee.
Yes.
But yeah, I can go ahead. I'll book that, and I will send out the invites for that tomorrow. We'll go from there. Anything else we want to touch on before we adjourn? And do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Right, all in favor?
Aye.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.